Some stories end in silence, others begin because of it. And Mamao's story was never truly about revenge. It was about understanding. After receiving the hair ornament her mother's, Mamao didn't speak for a while. She simply turned the piece over in her hands again and again, studying the curve, the tiny engraving near the base. A symbol, she remembered, Mama whispered. Even if they told her to forget, a part of her still held on. That realization didn't bring tears, it brought peace. The next morning, Mama returned to her work at the medicinal chamber, quietly as if nothing had changed. She checked fevers, mixed herbs, adjusted diets, the same routine, the same walls. But something was different in her eyes. They no longer searched for hidden truths, now they searched for healing. Jinshi met her outside the apothecary wing. They stood under the eaves as light rain began to fall. "You've stopped digging," he said. Mama looked up at the clouds. "Not everything needs to be unearthed forever," she replied. "Some things just need to be seen and let go." He didn't press further. Instead, he handed her a small cloth packet. Inside, dried ginger petals. "Lifua's favorite," he said. "I thought you might want to keep growing them." Mamo didn't answer right away. Then, "Thank you for not looking away." They parted without ceremony. But the space between them had shifted. Respect, understanding. A quiet thread finally repaired. That evening, Mama lit a single candle beside her mother's old keepsake box. She placed the hair ornament beside it, and whispered not for the dead, but for the living version of her mother who had once fought to protect her in silence. "I remember you." And now the palace does too. The Empress Dowager sat in the jade room, steam rising from the tea she hadn't touched. Her gaze was fixed on the silk map of the empire spread on the table before her. The Grand Counselor stood beside her, watching the play of light and shadow on the Empress's face. Finally, the Dowager spoke, her voice like rustling silk. "What is the furthest Li Hua could have possibly traveled?" The Grand Counselor hesitated, then unfurled a scroll. With shaking hands, he traced a line across the silk. Here to here, perhaps, no more than that. He indicated the northern border of the empire, a place so remote most courtiers couldn't even name. The Dowager nodded slowly. So far away. How could anyone travel so far and still remain unsanctioned? It made no sense. A low sigh escaped her lips. How did she do it? The Grand Counselor had an answer ready. "Disguise herself as a commoner," he suggested smoothly. "Travel at night, avoid checkpoints, perhaps take a boat up the Yangtze River." The Dowager hummed noncommittally. The Grand Counselor, emboldened, continued. "We could track her down. Find her, bring her back." The Dowager raised her head, her eyes flashing. Find her, bring her back. Who did he think she was? Bringing someone back from such a journey would be like pulling an uncut gem from the earth. It would crack and shatter the moment she set foot in the imperial city again. Too late. He was too late. Even the Dowager knew it. What did he not understand? Did he really think his late sister-in-law would return because he wished it? Would she come back because the Emperor asked for her? The Dowager closed her eyes, remembering the weight of those wishes. She understood why Li Hua had left. She saw what it had cost her sister-in-law to exist within those four walls, how each step had to be carefully considered, how each word could turn into a weapon. She understood the need to flee, to escape. "Let her go," the Dowager finally said, her voice hoarse with emotion. "Let her stay away." The Grand Counselor gaped at her. He opened his mouth to protest, to remind her of their duty, of the Emperor's wishes, of the rebellion brewing in the north. None of it mattered. The Dowager cut him off with a sharp look. "If she comes back," she said quietly, "we will welcome her as family. If she doesn't, we will keep her place in our hearts." The Grand Counselor bowed deeply, defeated. As he turned to leave, the Dowager called out to him. "Tell me," she asked, a ghost of a smile touching her lips, "did my sister ever find the courage to face the dragon?" The Grand Counselor hesitated. Of course he knew the answer. Who didn't in the entire empire? How could Li Hua, the timid, the gentle, ever face the dragon? But what did the Dowager want to hear? "Yes," he said softly. She faced the dragon and lived to tell the tale.